pathetic since the star freshman got injured. But that's Georgia Tech. That's how they play. That's their only way of really competing with some of these topper-tier teams in the ACC. And so the worry is can Carolina make the shots that the zone is going to allow them to take? The ball's got to go inside first and foremost. And you've seen Roy Williams has learned how to attack the zones. The best play to get the ball is at the middle of the floor at the free throw line. The problem is a couple of years you've had a Bryce Johnson or a Kennedy Meeks or a Luke May that thrive in those kind of areas. That really isn't Brooks or Baycott's game. You still got to put the ball there because it's going to open up other things in your offense. Thing is that when the time comes for Carolina to take those certain threes that they're going to get, can they make them?
Right.
And that's the thing. They were able to make timely three-pointers against Yale. Can that carry over into this game against Georgia Tech? Because that's what Georgia Tech wants Carolina to do. And there's going to be certain times where that's the right shot to take in that offensive set. They just got to be able to make them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the worry is can they make enough shots to keep the offense afloat, because Georgia Tech's not going to play man. They're not good enough to play with the Tar Heels man-to-man. Even with all the injuries, they're just not.
Right.
So zone is going to be what they're going to do. Can they make enough shots over the zone to get the offense going?
Yeah, no, that's you're right. Getting to that free throw line area is definitely going to be key. I think that, look, Garrison Brooks is going to be your guy there. I mean, look, out of the two the two big men, that's your shooting big man. And I think a guy that should thrive there is Justin Pierce as well, because he's been known to be a shooter. That was what he was known for back at William and Mary. Now, I mean, look, it isn't, the outside shot that we thought we were going to get from him, but in a game like this, getting that shot from the free throw line and having him be able to thrive in that area would be huge for Carolina. And, the other thing that they've got to do is, look, man, we've talked about it all season. The best way to break up what teams want to do defensively against you is to get out and run, and that is what they're going to have to do. Look, Georgia Tech is not going to shoot great from the field. They haven't been shooting great from the field all year, just like Carolina. So there's going to be opportunities on the glass. You should own the glass against this Georgia Tech team because they're averaging 35.7 rebounds per game to your 44.8 rebounds per game. So this should be an area where you're going to have success. You want to get out. When you get the opportunities off of turnovers or off of missed shots, you have to get out and run. And I'm going to tell you, Jeremiah Francis is going to do it. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody else is going to run with him, because it used to be Anthony Harris that was the guy that was running with him. Now with Anthony Harris looking like he's going to be off the floor, unless there's a miracle that we're not being led on to, we're going to have to find somebody else that can do it. But I think you're right. The biggest thing is, can you make those shots when they're open? And, you kind of hope that Andrew Platek is back, because right before the injury, he was starting to find at least a little something from downtown. If you can combine that with hopefully another good game from B-Rob, maybe you start seeing some shots from the outside go down for Jeremiah Francis or someone else, Christian Keeling maybe. That could be helpful. But yeah, that's been really one of the biggest things this year, is that there have been some good looks from three. This team just simply has not been able to knock them down. And that's kind of where, I think a lot of people would, when they listen to the podcast, get angry about the fact that we're saying, okay, this is not a good shooting team. Those are the types of plays that show you that they really are not a good shooting team. When you're wide open and even are setting your feet and you still can't knock it down, you're just not shooting the ball well. And guess what? There's going to be times where that's going to happen. It's just how can you work through those. Carolina, in a game like this, when you're playing against the zone defense, you need those shots to fall.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. All right, let's get you out on this. Who wins and why?
Well, I think Carolina wins. Look, Carolina's the more talented team here, and I feel like this team realizes that they need this type of win early in ACC play. These are the types of games they're going to have to win. You're going to have to be in a pretty good spot before you turn to that second half of your schedule, because you can look as just anybody that's a casual basketball fan, the schedule picks up no matter what, just about every year in the second half of the season. It's no different again this year. So Carolina's got to take advantage of some of these opponents that they're going to play early. Georgia Tech is one of them. I think that the zone defense will be a problem for them. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think Carolina probably gets into the mid-60s, and that's about it. And I think they're, look, they had some struggles there for a little while defensively. It seems like the communication has picked up. It helps that Georgia Tech really isn't shooting the ball that well. I think Carolina wins probably somewhere in the 8 to 10 point range.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Carolina wins. I think they're going to take the positive stuff they've gained from beating UCLA, beating Yale, and that's going to carry over into the ACC play. Roy Williams said in the pregame in the locker room before Yale that the practice has really picked up for them, that they're practicing a lot better. And when you're starting to see results on the floor, your practice is going to pick up a little bit. I think they're going to be excited to get him to 880th win at home in front of the Tar Heel faithful. And, I'm with you. I think it's not going to be pretty, but we've come to the conclusion they're not going to play a pretty game this year. Every game that they're going to have to win is going to be ugly because that's just the makeup of the team. And I think they're going to start taking pride that they can win games ugly because not many teams can say that. And when you can, it's another thing that you can have in your back pocket when you go into March and you get that tournament game that, well, if we got to play a game in the 50s, we're comfortable in playing in that. Most years, Carolina's not comfortable playing that kind of game. This year, they've kind of adjusted. So I think they'll eke out probably a double-digit win, but again, that's going to be a lot closer than what the scoreboard indicates. To get to 2-1 in the ACC play, 9-5 overall, and really have some positive momentum going into next week. So that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Roy's Boys podcast. Before we let you go, I'm going to talk to you about the Heel Tough blog website. Go to the website, check out all the great content we got going on right now. We've got stuff with football, all-decade team article that Anthony wrote up. It's on the website. Go check out that. A transfer portal article where 2 Tar Heel players are in the transfer portal as well. Coaching changes happening on Mac Brown's staff after his first year. He's already making some adjustments to keep Carolina's football staff intact and getting better as we move along. So check out all the football stuff we got on the website. Also check out the basketball content. We got the all-decade basketball article up there. There's even stuff from the Yale game. I have a preview for this game on the website as well. So check out HeelToughBlog.com. Also do want to encourage you guys to subscribe to this podcast wherever you find your podcast. We're on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We're everywhere. Give us a like. Give us a review. But most importantly, we want you to become subscribers. That way you get your podcast in your feed every time we upload an episode. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this edition of the Roy's Boys podcast. We want to thank you guys for listening, and as always, go Tar Heels.